Hey, welcome to Picture This Film Reviews. My name is Matt and
I'm Movie Man Dan.
Movie Man Dan. How are you today?
I am standing at the edge of life and it is glorious.
That's all we can ask for, honestly. Today we're here to talk about the movie Friendship. It is a new movie currently in theaters, directed by Andrew D. Young. It stars Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, along with a handful of others. Um, Dan, before we deep dive, just right off the bat, what did you know about this movie going in? What did you expect? And then just without like going too deep, what was your initial reaction?
Well, when we were talking about this movie, I was really excited about going to see this. I'm a huge fan of Tim Robinson. In particular, his sketch comedy show, I Think You Should Leave. I knew he used to be a writer for some of the SNL skits. He is also in Detroiters. Also has like a ton of writing credits out there, but a really crazy sort of comedian. So known for really absurdist humor. When we had seen the previews for this, didn't really expect anything different than that. I was kind of curious what exactly would how it would play out because in his sketches, if you've watched them before, they're either really, really, really funny, or to me, they're really, really, really not funny. There is no in between, and a lot of the early reviews on this said, "Okay, this is basically a very long Tim Robinson sketch," and I really didn't know how that would play out, but overall, without going too deep, wasn't disappointed. I was really excited. If you're a fan of Tim Robinson, you're going to be a fan of this. And Matt, I know before we went, you really didn't watch. I think you should leave. You're not really a huge Tim Robinson person. I know you know of Paul Rudd. Everybody knows Paul Rudd, of course. But I mean, what did you know going into this, and how did you feel overall?
I knew nothing. I did not see a trailer. I only knew the movie existed, I believe, because you told me. I don't know that I would have ever even come across it. I think I heard it from you first, and then I started to see it like online or like scrolling or something, and I would see things about like, oh, okay, that's the movie that, yeah. But I really, honestly, I never watched a trailer. Still have not seen a trailer to this. Um, didn't know what it was about going in, and sometimes that's the way to watch a movie, I think. I find that I typically have a better time watching a movie if I go in completely cold. And that's how I did this one. And I got to tell you, I was blown away. I really enjoyed myself here. Um, I'll just kind of do a little deep dive and I'll kick it back to you. One of the very first things I said, I guess for those of you who don't know what the film is about, very simple, easy synopsis on our old pal Letterboxd is a suburban dad falls hard for his charismatic new neighbor. So I didn't even know that much. And then when we went into it and the movie was on for maybe 10 minutes, and I leaned over to you because we went together, and I leaned over to you and I said, "Is this like the cable guy?" Because I really was getting cable guy vibes and I wasn't sure where it was going, if it was going that way, which one of the two men were going to be the obsessive friend, if you will. But I kind of felt right away that's where it was headed. I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't really follow Cable Guy. Like it wasn't a remake. It was its own thing, which just it kind of took like the bones, if you will, of the Cable Guy and did something completely different with it. So I really, really enjoyed it. I thought the cast was great. I thought, you know, you can't go wrong with Paul Rudd. I know he's been in some stinkers, but he himself is always great. This was really my first introduction to Tim Robinson. I think we had talked, you had shown me something that I don't even remember. Like I remember that night that you showed me things, the different comedies, sketches and stuff, but I don't remember exactly this specific, I don't remember him. I don't remember what of his you showed me. But I thought he was funny. I thought it worked for me, which I'm very picky about my comedy. I'm extremely picky about my comedy. I will be the first one to say, well, I don't like stupid comedy. But then I'll also watch Jim Carrey and I'll also watch insert any Adam Sandler, any stupid comedian, that does the same thing over and over. I'm infamously known for loathing, not loving, loathing Will Ferrell. But really, it's just a personal preference. This was fun. I'm gonna kick it to you before I, wrap things up.
When we talk about this movie, I know you went a little bit of a broad overview. I think it has a lot of themes as far as how it is to make friends as a man and kind of to join a pre-existing friend group, and of course, deteriorating mental state. I think we saw most of this movie from the perspective of Craig, that was played by Tim Robinson, and then also Alston, which was Paul Rudd's character as a weatherman. And, Paul Rudd's character had a lot more cool hobbies. He was like collecting artifacts. I think the absurdist part where they're going into the sewer for an adventure. He had a whole bunch of, or he wanted to go like, was it mushroom picking or hunting
Yeah.
out in the middle of the woods? Um, so what I will say is that it plays to a lot of themes, and then also I think his marriage, his life, Craig's life in particular, sorry, started to spiral. He was having issues in his marriage. He obviously had a strained relationship with his son. So there's a lot going on, and ultimately it's kind of like that pressure cooker effect. Like it's headed somewhere off the rails. And honestly, I know Matt, you and I talked about what actor could portray this. Honestly, I don't know if anybody else could have done it as good as Tim Robinson. Like he's just got that unique brand of humor. I know you had thrown a couple out there to me, but honestly, I think this played really well. And again, I didn't know what I was going to expect, and I was worried. You said that when you went in, or you don't like stupid humor and everything else. I was worried you weren't going to like this, and I was very pleasantly surprised that you did. And honestly, I know we were quoting things on the way back. Like this is one of those that if you go to watch it, it's not your traditional brand of humor. Okay. And there were folks in the movie theater with us that absolutely hated it. They were sitting behind us, trash talking the movie the entire time. But like, it's like you have to be able to read between the lines on certain things, and certain things stick out to you. And we were quoting it on the way back home. And to me, that's a mark of a really good comedy, because we're bouncing that thing back and forth. One of my favorite lines, I've been saying it ever since I left, is like, "You guys kiss on the lips." Like I don't know why that's so funny to me. It just is. If you watch the movie, you'll obviously know what we're talking about. But there's quotable movie or moments like that throughout the film that if you go watch this, they're gonna stand
You'll
out
you'll
to you.
immediately if you go watch this, you'll immediately want to go watch the new Marvel.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I think they reference a new Marvel movie like 3 or 4 times. I have no idea which one. It's just the new
Yeah,
Marvel
the new
movie.
Marvel. But they don't even say the new Marvel movie. They just say the new Marvel. You
The
want to
new
go watch the
Marvel.
new Marvel? I want to check out the new Marvel. Oh, I rented the new Marvel. But it's
But very
uh,
rare where I've actually like thoroughly enjoyed an indie film. This one premiered at the Toronto Film Festival, I think in September 2024, and then it was picked up by a different production company that released it for theatrical release. It was very hard to go see this. I think that in our local theater, there was only one time reoccurring. It was like 12:40, 12:40, 12:40. And the day we decided we wanted to go see it, it was out of that theater, so we had to drive an hour away to go see it. I imagine it will be streaming soon. I really am interested in picking this up, so that might give you a little bit of a hint what my rating might be. But Matt, for final thoughts and wrap up, overall, what would you give the movie? Any other high marks that stood out to you, like your favorite parts, or maybe something you felt they missed the mark on? I don't know, just closing thoughts, but kicking it back over to you for a minute.
um, gosh, there's so much you hit on there that I wanted to come back with, and I don't remember everything. Um, so first of all, this is an A24 movie, which who knew? Um, I don't know how your relationship is with A24. Mine is pretty okay. I mean, they have some hit or misses. Um, I think this is not your typical A24, like where something really weird is going to happen at the end, or it's not gross or gory or horror. It's just what it is. It's almost off brand for A24 at this point. Did you say that you don't typically enjoy independent films?
I mean, it depends. I should have reworded that. It's when they have
I'm calling you out on that, sir.
a really good critical reception. Usually when the critics enjoy it, I absolutely despise it. But this is one that had like overwhelming positive critic reviews. I think it was 90%. I think I'm sorry, like it was rated very high.
Yeah.
And overall, I think overall in theaters, IMDb, general Google reception places is somewhere in the mid to upper 70 range. And I could understand that. And I really didn't expect to be in line with critics here, but find myself throwing in more with them on this.
Yeah. I thought, we talked about who could play, we were talking about what makes a performance and who could play a part, if anyone could play that part, or could you only see that actor playing this part? I'm not going to say that for the two leads here that no other actor could have played these two parts, even Tim Robinson's character, although I do think his character is more of the one that stood out. He was he his I don't know how he is as a comedian, but his I thought his acting was very well done. His comedy was definitely there. He knew what he was doing. You could have maybe plugged some other comedian in there. It may have worked. It may not. It would have been hit or miss. Paul Rudd's character, you probably could have plugged any actor with a name in there and done the same thing. But on the same token, I will give Paul Rudd credit because I felt this in this movie, Paul Rudd was kind of showing some acting chops again, which I feel like the last couple of movies I've seen Paul Rudd in, don't ask me to name them because I can't really off the top of my head, but the last few movies I've seen Paul Rudd in, he's just been Paul Rudd. Um, and this, I felt he was acting and he was, performing, and I would have almost have liked it to be flip-flopped. I would have like in the beginning when I didn't know who was going to be the crazy neighbor, I wanted almost to see Paul Rudd be the obsessive neighbor. I felt like that would have been an equally as entertaining movie. Um, but no, they both did a great job. I think the supporting cast, Kate Mara, who played the wife, and then Jack Dylan Grazer, who played his son. It was nice to see him from, all grown up. They both were great supporting people. They did. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. Dan kind of alluded to what they did, but um, yeah, no, I thought this was hilarious from start to finish. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested in Tim Robinson or Paul Rudd or comedy movies in general. This is still playing limitedly in theaters, but like Dan said, I believe it's going to hit streaming relatively soon, maybe next week, I might have read, possibly next week. So it's going to be hitting streaming very soon. Um, with that said, I'm just going to give you my rating. I am at 4.5 stars with this out of 5.
That's strong coming from Matt for sure, especially in the comedy realm. Overall, just a couple points. I was reminded that Paul Rudd recently starred in Death of a Unicorn. I felt his performance here was way better.
I agree.
I think the movie just overall was way better. I'm sorry, but it's just how I feel.
I agree.
Um, Paul Rudd, I know when you said that, hey, could anybody else have done this part? Yes, Paul Rudd could have been interchangeable. However, fun fact, throwing it back to the old school days, Paul Rudd actually helped finance this film to get it, to production and all that good stuff. He is a producer on the movie, so I'm really glad that he was a part of all that because it might have not came to fruition if he hadn't been involved in it. Um, Overall, again, like Matt said, really strong overall film. If you're a fan of Tim Robinson, I think you're 100% going to be a fan of this. When I went to the movie theater again, didn't know what to expect. Came out laughing really hard at certain moments. It was just one of those things that just, it hits. When it hits, it hits. When it doesn't, you're just sitting there. You're like, what the heck? It's what an 97-minute runtime, maybe an hour and 40
Yeah.
minute runtime, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So overall comfortable, didn't really have to, get up and go away, didn't find myself bored during the course of the movie. Um, and the one thing I will say, as far as comedies, it's different. It's fresh. It's something that really hasn't been beat to death yet, and maybe that'll change. But overall, I really appreciated the new perspective, the way that we approached comedy in the way of stand up. And this is Paul Rudd's first feature film. So that being stated, hopefully he comes back to the screen. Hopefully we see more out of him. Also, I think it was Andrew
Wait,
DeYoung,
who's
or not
first
Paul
feature
Rudd,
film?
not Paul Rudd. I
I was
apologize.
gonna
Tim
say. I was gonna
Robinson.
say.
Woo! Wow. Tim Robinson's first film, like big film. He has been in TV shorts or series, but outside of that, that's about what we have. So, overall, my rating, sorry, a little bit stronger than Matt's, I think. I'm gonna say this is a five for me.
Uh,
Honestly, just because in this day and time, I think it's something to compare. I think it's going to set the way for, the level of comedy that really we need to head towards and try not to, stay away from. Slapstick had its time, physical comedy has its time. I mean, this is full of sarcasm. This is, bubbling anxiety under the surface. This is multi-level, this, that, and the other. So just really excited to see the direction this pushes us and really where film goes from here. So, um, but anyways, that's where I have. Go ahead,
I
Matt.
found it very relatable too. There's a lot of scenes like as a man who has friends and struggles to keep those friendships. I found a lot of scenes relatable, like in Tim Robinson's character. And a lot of times, when they were hanging out, I saw, mirrors, not full on, reflection. I'm not saying that my friends and my mirror like this, but I found glimpses of my own life in both of these characters. Sometimes in a lot of times in Tim Robinson's character, and then sometimes in Paul Rudd's character. I found myself and then my friends and just our friendships. So I think that was cool too, because that's not something like you said that you see a lot of, that I wouldn't mind maybe seeing a little bit more of.
Now, we'll note there, Matt, now that you've said that, that both characters were narcissists. But, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Other than the cable guy and maybe a few others, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Just the
And
example you used was so prominent.
I felt this took what the cable guy wanted to do and did it better. And I love the cable guy. I'm not hating or shaming on the Cable Guy. Cable Guy's a great film. If you haven't watched it, go watch Cable Guy. And then when you're done watching Cable Guy, go watch Friendship, because I think I don't know that I don't know if one had anything to do with the other. I don't know if Tim Robinson knew that it was kind of similar, or if it was any kind of, maybe it never even crossed his mind. But as a viewer of both films, I find that they're just slightly similar enough where you could make a comparison, but Friendship does it better. And and they're both great films. So
I think that's a good point to knock off on there, Matt. So, if you wanted to leave a comment, this is the part of the film I say, you know what? If you went to go see this in theaters, let us know. Drop us a comment. Maybe you hated the film, disagree with us, think that we're crazy. That's fine. Let us know about it. If you went to go see it, you absolutely loved it. Let us know about that too. Matt, what social media could they reach out to us on if they wanted to just give us some feedback or, some things or points we may have missed?
you can leave a comment on this video right at youtube.com/picture this film reviews, or you can follow us on Instagram. We are at picture this reviews, where we post every time we post a new episode. You can leave a comment there or send us a DM, even slide into the DMs, and we'll respond back.
Sweet. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Hopefully, you took something positive out of this. And if you haven't seen it yet, would definitely recommend. I think Matt and I would both recommend go see this movie, Friendship. If it's not in theaters near you, it'll be out to you soon on streaming. Would definitely recommend a watch. But thank you as always. If you find us out and about, come sit down with us, watch a movie with us. It's always a pleasure to join you. And Matt, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to sign it out.
Everyone have a great week. Hold your friends close and love one another.
See you guys.